Hello everyone! Today we're going to be doing plant drawings and use a technique called the cracked wax effect. For the plant drawings, let's do a little bit of practice first, drawing a few different flower and cactus types and learning how to draw some different pots. So on a whiteboard or the back of your paper, let's begin with a sunflower shape, drawing a circle, and then long pointed petals that go all the way around. Just like a sun. And then in between, go back, and you can do another pointed petal. All right, let's try a couple other flower varieties. The next one's going to be a tulip. Draw a U. Start back at the top of the U and do diagonal down to the center. Match on the other side. And then an additional triangle shape in the middle. You can try a few different variations of it where your diagonals are more curves, like that. You could include roses. Here's a simple way to do a rose if you just do a spiral and a U. All right, other things you could add are cactuses. So we could draw a big upside down rainbow. You could do a few of those, and the ones behind can overlap to create multiple plants. And then add lines or spikes. Cactuses even can have flowers on top. Like that. Or you can do a cactus that has arms. Give it some needles. And last, let's practice a pot for our plant to go in. So draw a rectangle and a rhombus. When you're done practicing, you can draw your final design. Start the planter towards the bottom half of the paper so that you leave enough room for your flowers or cactus. When you're done, we're going to be using crayons to color. Notice how there's not a background, and we're keeping our plant very large. It should be the main focus of the page, and then there's going to be just a little bit of negative space around. To begin, instead of coloring lightly, you're going to press very firmly. It's almost like we're scrubbing the paper with the crayon. So we really want to get a very dark, full, saturated color with no white showing. Continue coloring your plant and your pot using this scrubbing motion, trying to stay inside the lines. If you get little fuzzies from your crayons, you can just wipe them off every once in a while, like that. And a finished one might look something like this, where the colors are very bright. There's not a lot of white spots. Now we are going to carefully crumple our work of art. It's a little scary to crumple something that we spent so long and we worked so hard on, but what we're gonna do is carefully kind of crinkle the paper. Give it a little squeeze, uncrinkle it, And you're going to continue repeating this. You will notice that some of your crayon does jump and smear, but don't worry about it. It's not really going to affect our overall design. So carefully continue crumpling and uncrumpling until your paper is becoming soft and creased. Make sure you open it slowly so we don't rip. If rips occur, they typically happen around the edges. So just if you do that, try to be aware of them. We can always fix that with tape before moving on to the next step. Try to flatten it back out as much as you can. And make sure your name is still visible on the back before you begin to paint. For the next step of cracked wax, we're going to be taking liquid watercolor and we're going to paint over everything. You'll notice that you're going to be unable to see your drawing at the moment. Don't worry. For the last step, you'll need your teacher's help. We're going to give our artwork a little bit of a bath to help wash any excess ink or paint off. Wet paper is very fragile, so you definitely want help doing this part. You're going to carefully remove it from the tub of water and put it back on your mat. And then take the mat over to the drying rack. When you are finished, you'll be able to see this amazing cracked wax effect. Crumpling the paper created cracks in our waxy crayon, and it created this really cool, intense texture. I hope you enjoyed this process.